Pensado's Place is brought to you by
Nothing sits on top of a record and makes it better than sweet harmony. You're going to actually meet a guy who is just brilliant at what he does.
Yes.
We've got a brand new ITL. We've got a campaign from Isotope. You're at the place. It's a brand new place, as you can tell, but damn it, it's Pensado's Place.
Yay! What's up, everybody? Glad to have you with us. I've been looking forward to meeting this cat for quite a while since my friend Jason told me about him a long time ago. It's going to be a great day, Herbert.
Well, it is a great day. It's sort of a brand new day, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, people might not know, but I've destroyed so many sets of speakers with my mixes over the years. I asked people to send me the bad speakers, and so here's a collection of those speakers that I've destroyed with my mixes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of years of destroying things.
Well, you know, you gotta be known for something.
That's right. Did people pay for things before you got the speakers? Do we owe refunds to people?
No.
No, we're good?
No, we're good.
We're good. Well, shall we go ahead and get it going?
You know what's so sad is I think I know the names of all those speakers.
They are personal friends of yours, aren't they?
No manufacturers.
Right, exactly. Hey guys, it is really good to see you. We're back with you, and as you might can tell, things are just a wee bit different. The short form of a long story is, Dave and I have been planning and developing the evolution of this show for a while. For the last 5 or 6 months, we've been sort of figuring out ways to go and things to do, and some things take a process. Step one was absolutely a brand new studio where we could really shoot more, do more, and call it a home. And by golly, I think we found it.
Well, absolutely. Shout out to our friends at AI. It was a great experience. Mark Lowentrow really took good care of us. Joe, Claude, all the guys over there. Can't say enough good things about the Art Institute. Just grow, you know.
Yep.
Sad day we had to leave, but a happy day for us today. You know, this is incredible.
Yep.
So all thanks to these guys. You know what I'm saying?
So we're now coming to you from Stream.TV Studio, smack dab in the heart of Hollywood. We are excited about that. Susan Wren and Lorna Paul, who run the place, are smart, committed folks. They're doing big things here. They had heard about the place and came after us pretty aggressively and said we belonged here, and damn it, they're right. Their team has been phenomenal. It already feels like home, and it's going to allow us to do a lot more things that we want to do to bring to you. Shout out to Chevy Chevlin for the hookup. We could not be more thrilled. We speed dated and made it work.
Speed dated.
And to your point about AI, Mark Lowentrout and Joe Barrero have absolutely been champions. They were stand-up guys. They're friends of ours. And also to those students who were really professional and took their job seriously and became our friends. Job well done. We've gotten several of them hired into great situations, and we've actually taken one of them as part of our staff. Mr. Chongor has made the transition.
Or as we like to call him, whiteboard.
Whiteboard, the Hungarian whiteboard. So anyways, welcome aboard our new journey. You made this happen. Continue to do such things by liking and subscribing. Look what happens when you do that. And I'm telling you, we got some cool programming and events headed your way. We're excited about it. As usual, big hellos to our Vintage King and Avid families. VK is 20 years old. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Happy birthday to those guys. Those two brothers have gone from being artists and musicians.
I must have bought something from them in the very first couple of years.
Yeah. Do you have a Stump the Vintage King guy question?
I do. What does discrete mean, and why do I need discrete electronics? Are they better than non-discrete electronics?
So we'll get that answer, and Brian Peterson will post that so you can get that answer. On the Avid front, in a couple of days, we're convening an expert panel that we're going to shoot. We're going to do a deep dive into Pro Tools 11 and put that show together, and then we'll let our fans know when they're going to air.
Man, I've been using 11 for a while now, and what a beast.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It improves your efficiency, improves your sound, everything. They got a new console. I can't wait to try it.
So we'll talk about that when we do the show. And let's talk about some friends of ours in Boston. Our folks at Isotope, they have just come out with a new product. Dave did an ITL on it that you've seen. It's called the RX3. It's just like a lethal weapon, isn't it?
Yeah. when you use it for what it was designed to do, it's spectacular. But of course, I got to use it for other ways. But the other day, I was trying to rip off a kick drum. I forget whose song I was ripping off, but I couldn't get rid of the hi-hat in the kick drum. And you're not supposed to use this plug-in like that, but I used the denoiser to take out the hi-hat. Now I got a great kick drum.
So
it really works.
You have been very impressed with this new product.
Very, very impressed. Everything they do, it's so hard to create something like a plug-in and have it work great, but also have it be musical. There's not too many cats. There's a handful of cats out there that are musical and great inventors. Rupert Neve, obviously, Dave Hill, and the guys at our buddy at McDSP, on and on and on, the Waves guys, UAD guys. But Isotope is doing something just very cool over there. Everything they make is very usable. Even Iris, I use Iris, and I'm not even that good a keyboard player.
And they are also great people, which is sort of a sign of what's going to happen.
They care about the product and about the people that use it.
So they, in celebration of the launch of this really seriously off-the-charts plug-in bundle, Isotope is going to give away something each week for the month of October. And this prize wheel right here, we're going to spin that prize wheel.
I want the prize wheel.
And we'll keep that afterwards. And then depending on if you get your name into this location, which is pensadosplace.tv/isotope, you'll see it below us, pensadosplace.tv/isotope. Head there, submit your info, and win a powerful Isotope tool. So I'm going to spin the wheel. Dave is going to say what, and on this are different Isotope products.
Except for your face and my face.
Well, it says that's our choice, so we get to pick the product. So let's spin the wheel. You'll pick what it is, and we'll announce a winner literally today. So you ready? Here we go. It's the Isotope wheel.
We need music for this. Ozone 5.
Whoa,
that's the most. That is the most expensive one.
Nice. So
good job, Herb.
Thank you. Good job, Isotope. So the winner of this Ozone 5 is a gentleman named Corey Morgan. We pulled him up, saw his name.
Congrats, Corey.
So congrats to Corey Morgan, and get your emails in. So next week we're giving you some good free stuff. We want to give you good free stuff. Every week everybody gets to do that. So why don't you throw the ITL and let's get to our guest.
Today I want to show you 5 plugins that I use a lot that you may not have run across, but you should probably check out. The first one is called the Impressor by Alicia. Now I use this one on drums, background vocals, music auxes, a lot of different things. I'm going to show it to you on drums today, but check out the demo. Their hardware unit's pretty amazing too. Here's a little drum track. Here's with the Impressor. Almost the same volume. It looks like I'm just maybe a hair more. Now you see this little yellow? See this little yellow right here? That's my overall limiter. I've got a little bit of an EQ section here I can use, and the controls we're accustomed to seeing with a regular compressor. So let's check it out one more time. Watch the bypass button. The Impressor. The Impressor is impressive. Okay, the next one I want to show you is also one of my favorites. This is, a lot of people have this plugin. I don't think too many people realize they have it or what it does. It's called Little Labs VOG. VOG stands for Voice of God. It's primarily a sub, as sub to your bass. Here's a bass track without it. With it. You can do so much with this thing. You can also get your mixes in trouble too. You got to be careful. This little section here is where you select your frequencies. This is more of like a fine-tuned thing. Here's the amount that you add. Little Labs VOG, great UAD plugin. Now, now this plugin I just got. This is the Pro Limiter from Avid. It's an Avid plugin. They've spent a lot of time and effort on this plugin. Whew, it's so good. Watch this. Now I'm telling you, I'm looking at my meters. You guys can't see my meters. They're very accurate. They're like dB increments. And the volume doesn't go up. Check this out. It's got your basic settings. This character, watch this. And then you've got your threshold, your output, your release. I set my release to kind of be in time. Wow. This thing is called a brick wall limiter in my mind. I think of it as a brick wall limiter. You can just, nothing gets past it, but you can get yourself in trouble with this too. You got to be careful because it really does what it's supposed to do. This plugin is by Softtube, and it's just called Saturation Knob. Kind of simple plugin, it seems like. I've got the amount of saturation or the saturation type, and I've got the amount here. And check this out. This is my music aux. Man, I love that. That is so cool. Saturation Knob by Softtube. Now, one final plugin that I use a lot, that some of you know about, some of you don't. It's called a clariphonic. Now this knob has, this plugin is pretty simple, but here again, you can get yourself in trouble. If you read the manual that Greg wrote on this thing, the owner, he recommends that you A/B, and I'm going to show you this. I've got on the stereo bus. I use it on vocals. I use it on anything that I want to enhance the clarity, the depth of. Watch this. Now your ear gets used to it. Now watch what happens when I A/B. You got to listen to it for a while and then take it out, and it's dramatic. Whoa. Okay, so that gives you 5 plugins. We've got the Impressor, we've got the VOG, the Pro Limiter, the Clariphonic, and the Softtube Saturation Knob. You can see how all of these have a lot of uses. So check them out, experiment with them, and let me know uses you found for them. They all can be used on anything, and they can all get you in trouble real fast. So be careful, all right? This stuff can be dangerous. Next time.
You know, when you live in town, you hear reputations of certain people and just how they stand out and how hot they are and the way they do things in the studio. I have for years heard about this gentleman. Mm-hmm. I think our paths have crossed, but not like this. So we are honored to welcome to our desk an incredibly talented musician, producer, engineer, and everything. Mr. Harmony Samuels.
Hey, sir.
What's up,
What's
brother?
up, Dave?
up?
Good to see you, man.
Oh, there you go. Reach. Oh, three-way pound.
Oh,
there we go. We got three-way
I'm learning.
pound.
I'm learning.
That's
I'm learning.
well done. Well done.
Me too.
Well done.
What's
man.
a pound?
It's a black thing.
Is that because he's from England? It's like something.
Well, could be money
Oh,
if
okay.
it's England, but that's for him and I to for it. You don't worry about that. Man, thank you.
Thank you.
They're so stupid. Thank you.
So
It's an honor to be here.
You
I'm
have-
a big fan of both of y'all,
Yeah.
and it's weird because I used to watch the show I would watch the show. We still watch it now, and you know, my engineers would be in the studio. Carlos and Jose would be in the studio, and we would be just like, "Oh, did you hear that? You gotta try that!" Like and you know, and I always know they've tried something new,
Right.
Because I'll be like, "That did not sound. Where did you get that from?"
we're
Next
responsible.
time, next time you work with Jason, go in and say, Jay, can you do that thing that Dave did on episode number 122 on my vocal?
You'll absolutely freak out.
You'll be like, "What?"
You'll freak out.
I talk to him every day, by the way.
Yes,
Fire
sir.
away there, Mr. Dave.
One of the things I love about your music is the way you contrast things. Like you'll like a straight beat, kick and snare, but then you'll hit me with a bunch of little complex percussion on top of that. You'll give me a melody that's kind of reminds me of a Motown melody, but then you go modern with the melody, kind of Esther Deanish, real rapid fire stuff. Your music is a whole series of these little complex things. Anybody that compares you to anyone else in the business just hasn't listened to your music, because it feels like your influences are a very complex set of influences. And there's a question here somewhere.
Is that planned?
It's a cultural thing,
Ah.
right? So I was born and raised in London, North London, Tottenham, and I grew up with my parents are Nigerian. So already that's where the percussiveness comes from. If you listen to
Makes
Fela
sense.
Kuti and all
Yeah.
of that,
Oh, I
so
love
it's
Fela.
all the way everything's percussive.
Yeah.
And it's not really big drums. It's very percussive,
Right.
very bongo-ish, very hi-hat.
Yes.
And rhythmic.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of is tailored around that big boom and the snare. So when I was born and raised in London, never had the chance to learn music the way I probably would love to, which was have a music teacher, learn to play piano. I had to learn everything by ear,
So you taught yourself,
basically.
essentially.
Yeah.
At
Wow.
4 years old.
At 4 years old, I was playing the drums. So
Wow. Because you were musical director, like at your
12.
church as a teen. Unbelievable.
12 years old.
Wow.
And my parents had a big issue. My dad used to play for a very big African band, and he went kind of wrong. So I had a big issue about me doing music.
Yeah.
And the only time I could do music was in church.
Uh-huh.
So church was my escape.
That's right.
So, you know, I would, in my 2 hours of being there, I would want to learn everything I could.
Yep.
And you know, music is like a drug too. You know, if you take it away from someone, you want more and
That's
more and
right.
more.
That's right.
So the more my dad would pull me away from it, I would go deeper and deeper. So I went to school in a neighborhood where it was predominantly white. Right, I was probably like the fourth black kid there. And I was part of a rock band, so they would listen to Oasis, they would listen to Blur, we would listen to like all of the old Beatle band. Like we tried to be a Beatle band, why I don't know. But so then I had that culture. So you know, I'd be at home and have the African culture,
Right.
and then I'd be in school and I'd get all of the pop culture and all of the rock culture, and,
Right.
and then just as a general in London, music is so broad.
Right.
You know, you listen to Radio 1, you're going to get Jay-Z, and then you're going to get Coldplay, and then you're going to get,
That's
you know what I'm saying, you're
that
going to get
mixture.
a dance record, all in 1 hour.
Right.
So when you have
Thank
that
God.
consistently playing in your car or in your home, you just pick up these rhythms, and I would just be like, wow. But one thing I always noticed was they all had a formula to how they work. One of the biggest formulas was all of these top 10, like top records that went #1 from the 60s, 70s,
Yep.
they all had one formula, which is it's memorable. And that's why I could, as long as I could make what you hear the most memorable,
Yep.
what I do behind won't ever matter.
You know what's amazing is that that is such simple advice, but it's literally the key to unlocking the vault. People understand the power of a hook, and that a hook can be in the music too.
sir.
It doesn't have to be necessarily in what you're saying. It doesn't have to be what the title is. What always freaks me out about producers like yourself and Dre, the hooks are so embedded in that music that it's got you.
Yes, sir.
You don't even know why it's got you, but right?
Yeah.
But you just can't let go.
Nah.
Amazing.
Your description of your childhood makes sense now, because one of the things that you do to enhance your hooks is tension and release. So you'll create this little sus4 thing, and then you release into like coming into the tonic, or you drop me out from the major dominant 7, it's back into the tonic.
Wow.
You do that as good as anybody I've ever seen. Those are gospel moves.
But it's funny that he knows all this, because people don't look. They look at my music and they go, "I don't get it."
Right.
And I'm just like, "You're never gonna get it."
It irritates the piss out of me when people say, "Oh, he's ripping off Mariah. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's trying to bring back R&B." You're not trying to bring back R&B. You're trying to reinvent R&B.
Yes, sir.
R&B ain't coming back.
Yes, sir.
Not the way it was.
Yes, sir.
But you've reinvented it. You reinvigorated it, and you've brought it to a whole new generation that didn't understand it because of the way you've done this. But explain to people how important church is, because the chord structures in church, everything is designed much like a pop song would be designed around hooks.
Yeah.
There's church hooks too that work and have always worked.
Like I said, I mean, in church, one of the biggest church songs are the most memorable.
Yeah.
Amazing
Absolutely.
Grace, how sweet the sound.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just the most memorable. And why? Because they're really simple. And I just use that same formula in my pop writing or in my urban writing or if I'm doing anything. Even if when I was working Maroon 5, everything has to be, in a minute and a half of me playing you this record, can I win you over?
That's right.
That's it. And then, you know, with the church thing, our chords, they can get overcomplicated. And what I try to do, and that's the influence of jazz. You know, church and jazz are very close.
Yes,
you know
indeed.
what I mean?
Yes, indeed.
But what I tend to do is take enough to make you go, what was that?
Right.
Ariana Grande's single, The Way. It starts off, right. So literally, they're like, why did you do that? I said, I had 30 seconds to pull that off, capture you, and then go back into the song. So, especially now, radio's like 3.5 minutes. You don't have much time to impress anybody anymore.
That's right.
Back in the day, you had 3.5 minutes to do an intro to
That's
a
right.
song.
That's right. And then you had a solo.
And then you had a solo, and it was like 12 minutes long.
That's right.
Now you got 3.5 minutes.
Out.
I've got about 2 seconds to impress you.
That's it.
So I have to take the most effective chord, but yet the most simplest chord, to, especially between the verse and the chorus, to awaken you. Because once you get into basically between the verse and the chorus, you kind of follow the pattern, right? And then sometimes why some people's songs kind of just don't go anywhere is because they just follow that same pattern. So you kind of go brain dead.
Right.
As a human being, especially with the internet, everything's so quick.
Right.
So what I tend to do is, after the first verse going into the pre-chorus, because I want you to pay attention to that chorus so much, I will do something that will make your whole body awaken.
Well, you make me stop breathing is what you do. And then the chorus hits like
and he's just like, Jeremy's like, what is that?
It's true.
You know?
Did you ever listen to Brian Morgan from SWV?
Yes, I did.
I knew it. I knew it.
That's a
I mean,
great call.
because Brian had those changes, and
He was actually one of the first for me, to put that in R&B like that.
Yeah.
Like, he was one of the first. I mean, there were producers who did it, but he really was like right there. And you know, the old SWV, Coco, Phil.
Yep.
They were putting chords that I was like, I'm playing this in church, dude.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Foster and McElroy too. That whole Oakland area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your guys, Tony.
Yeah, no. I mean, Raphael, the funny thing about the church metaphor is there's so many places in history where the church was where people could gather and not be messed with, and a lot of things came out of there, musical things, cultural things, business opportunities, and so forth. And it goes back, not that we want to get off the path, but where it correlates to you is that that place that you escape to where you could be free so that your parents would let you mess with music,
Yes, sir.
generally has been a safe place for lots of folks who've been oppressed to gather
Yes, sir.
and try to do things. Like I have friends here who are very important churches, and they are the banking community. They're the banks for the community. And I'm talking about in L.A. There are places where you can go get food. There are places that can, go help. So music comes out of church so much. And for instance, Elton John, his constant influence is gospel, and he talks about it a lot.
Some of my biggest records today still come from what I play on Sunday.
Absolutely.
With the praise team, or
Yep.
and sometimes it's just real simple chord structures. And one of the things in church today, today's church, their songs are actually bigger now.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, they were a little bit more complicated. But even if in the 80s and 90s, Commission,
Yeah,
Fred
oh,
Hammond,
come
and
on, come on.
those songs were pop records. They
That's
weren't church records
That's
to me. Like I'd listen to them now and be like, that sounds like Tony.
That's
or-
right. That's
So,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Very connected.
Very connected. So I feel like the church itself disconnected itself from popular music, and there was a kind of disconnect between the two. So
Herb brought up something a few shows back about who was the artist that decided not to tour stadiums but tour churches?
Right, it was Patti LaBelle.
Patti LaBelle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that shows you where the church is at now.
yeah.
As well as here's a repository of influences that you literally can just go check out and go, wow, and inform yourself, because that kind of music is infused in all music.
Yes, sir.
It's not just to R&B music or anything else. It's relatable.
I mean,
across the board.
From rock all the way. You're talking
Absolutely.
some of your biggest rock records, Chris
music.
country,
Huge.
like stories.
Yeah.
And I just love. A lot of people say, "Where's your music influence from?" I say it's the church, but it's not like the black church. It's church
It's
in
church,
general.
period.
Like if you go to a Catholic church, and the woman at my Catholic church in London, I went to Catholic school.
Sure.
She would play the organ, and I'd be mesmerized.
Incredible, right?
How this organ would just be like, and cause and the reverb from the cathedral would just cause such an emphasis
Yes.
that you'd just be like, and then they never had microphones.
That's true.
The priest
I never
walking down
thought
going,
about
and it's just like, yo, this is phenomenal. If I had a recorder
that.
right now,
I
I'd
never thought about that. They never did mics.
they never did mics.
Wow. Wow.
It was all acoustic.
Those churches were designed so thoroughly to concentrate. The cathedral ceiling is designed to focus the music
on that sound.
When you executive produced the Ariana Grande record, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I have a tendency to be up late. It's when I get a lot of work done for Pensado's place. And so I just cull through music. It's the one time when my life sort of stops one way and my head can listen to music. And so I just caught one record, I caught another record, then I ordered it. And as I went through it, I just kept saying, the approach to this record is so different.
Yeah.
I just hadn't heard that in the pop. Because it's doo-wop and it's a lot of stuff.
Well,
what was the vision?
The vision, well, when she came to me, she actually had been trying to break the industry for a minute.
Okay.
Like she had been signed a few years. She came in the room and she had played me these songs and they kind of had a doo-woppy feel. So she had some of these songs, there's like 4 or 5 of them. And like Honeymoon was one of them, and she had this sound, and I was like, this is amazing, but the world's not going to understand it yet.
Right.
And what we need to do is open you up to people understand this first. Do you know what I mean? So when we did The Way, which was originally for Jordan Sparks,
Okay.
The Way, she heard it and she was like, oh my God, she started crying because it was like, this is the record. And I was like, you know why this is gonna work for you? Because we haven't had anybody sound like this on pop radio in a minute.
Got it.
And I said, between your image, the fact that you have 3 million people following you on Twitter.
Unbelievable.
Your
Unbelievable.
Nickelodeon audience, this record is pop enough, but cool enough.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
For you to be right there and coast. And I mean, she went from pop to urban.
Very easily, yeah.
Very easily. And that's what used to make Justin Timberlake special,
Yep.
Robin Thicke special,
That's right.
Britney Spears
That's
special
right.
when she moved in with
That's right.
Pharrell and them and they did
That's right.
Slave. And even what Miley Cyrus is trying to
No
do.
doubt
Like
about
she's,
it.
the Bieber,
Absolutely.
they're trying to open their audience up you know. And what the doo-wop thing allowed it now, people now are open to hearing big voices again, like a young big voice, not a, you know, Adele's a little bit older, but like a young big voice, like Mariah when she first came out, you know. It's been a while since you heard someone sing with that much passion and power on pop radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I did, and I wanted to, you know, give her. I said we have to make you cool because you are somewhat younger, and you're somewhat a clean-cut girl.
Right.
Like you are clean-cut. You don't curse. You know what I mean. The kids love you.
Right.
But we have to make you cool where the main world can go, nah, she's really dope.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So the records could have a little edge to it.
Little edge. So, you know, we put we call them trap drums, but, you know, we put the 808s and the snares and we made the patterns current. Yeah. But we took an old 1970s song.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Put it together. And then all of a sudden everyone goes, and the one thing everybody likes is something they feel they remember.
That's right.
You know? Yeah. This the hook, I like the way you made me feel. And everyone's like, I know that.
Yeah,
just the
I did that.
Did you have the idea for the top line first, and then put the music around it, or did you meet when was the song done when you met her?
Oh yeah, complete. It was actually in my computer for almost a year.
Wow.
So that's right, because Jordan won.
Well, we gave it to Jordan. Now the funniest thing, I actually have a video on YouTube of me making it. So I literally was out one night. And I heard this drum pattern. We was at a party, and I heard this drum pattern. I was like, "Yo, this drum pattern is awesome," but I knew that it was never going to reach up. You know what I'm saying? Like its full potential. Right. And I remember just looking for. I was like, "Where is that break?" There's a break I know that was used back in the day, and we finally found the Big Pun version, which was "I Don't Want to Be a Player No More," the remix.
Exactly.
And I was like. And it's like, where's the original? We found the original. I literally had that song done in an hour.
Wow.
It was like in my head way before I even got to the studio.
Wow.
So, and I came in, and you know, my anyone that works with my engineers will tell you, I will literally tell them we got a hit record, and they'll be like, you haven't made it yet, and I was like, give me 5 minutes.
I got this.
And an hour later, it'll be like, we'll be jumping around like, you got one, you got another one.
Wow.
So it's really amazing to see.
You know, as you, let me just really quickly. It feels to me, not all producers have this, but some do. It feels to me that you have a developed artist development sense. Yeah. That that it's not just the record for you. It's everything about the artist. Is that fair?
100%, and that's why you haven't really seen me work with, like, if you look at the roster that I have of hit records that I've made, and I really thank God that I can say that, but they're with artists people never expect.
Yes.
Like Fantasia. This time last year, we read in a magazine, a Billboard to be exact. Yeah. Her career's over.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I mean? So you're like media saying her career's over.
Right.
Then 6 months later, not only is she back, she has a #1 album in the country.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Which was an awesome experience, and you know, I love, and Ariana Grande. No one knew who she was. I love to develop an artist because you see the rawness in them. You know, Quincy Jones is my biggest mentor. You know, and I always think about the statement when he said, Michael came to him and was like, I want you to do my album. And he was like, you ain't ready. And I was like, you told Michael he wasn't ready. Right. Do you know what I mean? And I always wondered what he meant. And he meant that you wasn't ready to carry what I'm about to give you. Right. It's bigger than you.
Right.
And when they finally did go in, you know, Off the Ball was birthed, Thriller was birthed, and that's how I kind of take it. You know, we just finished working on Jordan Sparks, which is a great experience. It's the kind of same thing. You know, when it's a whole new sound for Jordan. No one's ever heard her sing in these ranges or in these depths or with sounds like that.
Wow.
You did Skipping a Beat.
No, I didn't do that one. No, I didn't do
That's
Skipping a Beat.
That's a good song, too. Who did that?
I don't actually know. She played it to me. She was like, what'd you think? I was like, I said, very cool.
It's a surprise for her. Yeah. You know, on Without Me, Fantasia, one of the things I like a lot of guys will throw hip-hop drums into a pop world, but it leaves you kind of weird because the hip-hop drums are so powerful, it kind of takes the song over.
Yes, sir.
And I notice that what you do is you blend them in, you take a little of the top end off the kick so it doesn't occupy too much space above 200 or 300, but on the bottom end, you run them loud. But you get away with it because in the old days, we used to take the top off, but this is a different thing you're doing. You leave a little bit of the top, but not enough to be irritating and take away from the popness of the track.
Yeah.
And then you take the evenness of the drums, and that gives you a platform that can become hypnotic. But to keep it from becoming monotonous, you're moving all kinds of stuff on top this bed.
Right. That's right.
And then you set these keyboards that sound like church, and then you set these keyboards that sound like massive and all kinds of brand new synth sounds on top of that, and then a melody for days. The melody for days is your melody is a combination of contrast and man, it's just a form. It's not a formula. It's just you feel music that way, and it's great
music's
to
a
hear.
soul thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think when I upgraded to having engineers is when I started to learn more of the technicalities of it, but it's always been made from
Right,
my
from your
stomach,
gut.
and it still does.
Yeah.
I remember having a disagreement about 808 and a kick one time, and I wanted my 808 kick to be more aggressive than the actual kick itself,
Right.
the 808, and we was having a debate because it was more like, well, the kick needs to feel this way because it takes. I'm like, look, this isn't about
Right, how it's supposed to be.
how it's this. There's no rules.
Right.
When I said, do you see the way this kick hits?
Right.
It needs to feel like this always.
That's it.
And then finally my point came across because I was like, look, you're taking away everything from this record.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And but I do respect the technical aspects of it because to have knowledge and understanding is for you to know. So now when I'm making my music from that same feeling place, I know the best kicks to use. In fact, I know how to pick the right kicks because I'm like, well, that frequency and that frequency doesn't match necessarily. Because why I tried it before and it was a complete mess.
Man, you're a mixer's best friend, man.
Oh, my engineers will tell you. We made a beat, it was like 2 weeks ago, and he was mixing it. And I walked in the room, I said, I use really bad drums on this one. And he was like, yeah. I was like, my bad. Give me a second. And I went back and I changed two of the kick drums, and he was perfect.
Can you share with us where you get your drum sounds?
Oh, yeah. To be honest with you, I recycle my own.
Yeah.
People, especially if I find like a kit that worked for me.
Yeah.
We put them through, our compressors and whatever, and then rebounce them and then just put them back into our, into my machine and my Contact. And I like Contact a lot because with Contact, you can really push it. Like you can make it as loud as you can. It's got this amazing width to push where, it's like, the kick sounds 10 times louder than it would be in the ESX.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
sure.
But ESX is another. I love that. That's kind of where I get all my percussiveness from, especially with looping stuff. You can get loops real quick. Us producers want to do things in 10 minutes,
Sure.
not
That's right.
6 hours.
Right, that's right.
So if we can put it in ESX and be like click, 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 oh, there it is. Like we want to do that.
Yeah.
But Contact has this aggressive nature with how it comes out of the speaker. And I've noticed anytime I'll do SSX and I'll switch it into Contact and be like, Contact's winning.
Yeah.
But Battery has the same thing too. Battery is kind of very aggressive in that,
Wow.
in drum sounds.
You mentioned a minute ago that on the way your inspiration was something you heard outside the studio.
Yeah.
Like most of your songs, do they start like if I was a songwriter, I'd start with a kick drum because it would just tell me what else to do. If I had a great kick drum, I could be a songwriter. If you got a great kick drum, give it to me so I can be a songwriter.
Yeah.
The only problem with my songwriting is nobody likes them, but
That's a little bit of a problem.
That's a big problem. I'm sure I'd like it.
they like my mixes so I can mix it, maybe have a hit. But anyway, how do you start? What's your inspiration normally to
start a
start?
song?
Like the way started from something you heard.
Yeah.
Like-
It's amazing. I have so many different processes.
Do you always
Most of
have
my
things
processes-
floating in your head?
I'm like I say, everything for me is spiritual and openness. And one of the things is if I'm stressed, like if I'm very caught up with the business, I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
But like this week we've made record after record, and literally in a week I could do like 12, 15 records, and people be like, you did all this in 1 week? It's a chain of, my spiritual being has to be kind of open enough to receive what the atmosphere is giving you, and the atmosphere gives you so much. We don't even know, like without me, right? And I do this all the time. I remember going to New York, right. I said, and we're in a meeting, I said, I'm thinking about doing this record for Fantasia. It's probably gonna be a big record. We may put Brandy on it, put Missy, maybe Kelly Rowland. Like, this hasn't been made.
Just like that.
And I was like, we're probably gonna, I wanna do it kind of like a trap thing. And I started humming it, like, do, 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 do. And they were looking at me like, you're a weirdo, like, cause it's like, well, maybe you should just make it and let's see. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's gonna be your biggest record. We flew back to LA.
You're kidding.
Flew back to LA, and I made the record, and I was like, I told you, to date, that's her biggest record. Wow. And they were looking at me like, how did you know? And I'm like, my phone has ideas from, that is my beat making machine. Forget anything else. My dictaphone, everything is like,
grab it, Herb, grab his phone.
Right, exactly.
Make sure you grab the phone.
How did You Changed come about? That was spectacular. 'Cause that's the first time Destiny, Beyonce, and all the girls have gotten back together. What a great song.
You Change, I Change. Firstly, I had an amazing songwriter. That song, my songs come from timing. Timing is everything with my songs. You Change, I Change.
What do you mean timing?
2009, I wrote that record.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
If I Was a Bird on Fantasia was 2008 or 9.
Wow.
Just sitting in my computer. So timing is everything.
Grab his computer too.
It's out in the car, actually.
We could be somebody.
Yeah, I'm getting straight to a publishing company after the show. I got some of this harmony for you.
Man,
I got some harmony for you.
It had to be your spirit that allowed them to get back together, because a lot has to be overcome to get those girls. Not because they don't want to,
it's
but
not easy to get. I mean,
the
Beyonce is one of the biggest artists in the world.
Absolutely.
You know, Kelly on every platform you can think of, from X Factor. She did X Factor London, now she's doing it here. And then Michelle, she was on Broadway.
That's right.
You know, she just finished Fella. So I was fortunate, I was working with Kelly on this last album, which was, you know, an experience. And, you know, I basically gave her the format to how she was going to do the rest of her album. And I ended up with 3 songs. But You Change, I Change, she came in the studio and she was like, you know, I really want a song for my sisters. And I was like, I was like, I got a couple of songs. Now, when I made that record, it was intent for Beyonce in my mind.
Oh my God!
That's why her verse works so good.
So what? And what was more spooky about it was, I remember making it, and the songwriter who wrote it with me, called Courtney Harrell, we was writing it, and we was like, yo, this will be crazy for B. Kind of feels like Me, Myself, and I, which she had on the Crazy in Love album. So when we played it to Kelly, and she was like, yeah, this could be for me and the girls. I was like, this.
Hello.
Don't play around with my emotions right now.
All right, don't do that to me.
But no, fair. She got Michelle in. Michelle did hers vocal, and you know, Miss B, she's not the easiest to get. But she went in the studio in New York. Amazing.
Wow.
And she did her vocals and sent it back to me, and I was just like, do I have Beyonce vocals in my computer?
I think I do. I do.
I really do.
Wow.
But I really pray they do an album, because I feel like they are.
It's time.
Yeah, they are the for this generation a great base for R&B. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to do the record though, because there's too many diverse influences that have to be managed.
Yes.
How involved are you in the recording of the vocals?
I mean, all the way to the bank.
Are you?
Okay. Jason Joshua does a lot of my mixes.
Right.
Who's been mentoring me since I moved to LA.
Right.
And Jason, like I'll be like this, Jay, no, big bro. It's not like, and you know, even up to the mastering, you know, we go to Dave Kutch.
Sure.
And you know, I'm very involved because, you know, I've done records where the demo sounded amazing. We're like, oh, we got a #1 right here, and the record comes out, and you're like, you screwed my whole mix up.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be like, and then all of a sudden it doesn't translate the same way.
In terms of recording the vocals, are you involved in that?
Yes, sir. I'm a vocal
I want to give you a compliment. you work with women and men who are known for pyrotechnics vocally, and I don't like that. I don't need a bunch of hits. Give me one Aretha Franklin note for 8,000 little notes going all over the place. And your melodies and the way you, whoever, I guess it's you now that I know that, you don't let them do all that stuff. Like there's not a lot of, like all the comparisons with Ariana and Mariah, nah.
Yes, sir.
She's not doing all that stuff Mariah does. And I love when Mariah did it, I was very impressed, but she did it. And is that a part of your philosophy?
Yeah,
Keep them in the melody? Now, Beyonce got a little out.
Yeah.
But you weren't there.
But I mean, not only was I not there, I just feel like when I was 19 years old, right, I was on a train, and this dude, and I always believe God sends these strange people to come test test me as a person. Mm-hmm. So I was on this train, and I'm listening to music, and when you're young, you just, I'm in my head.
Absolutely, I do it now.
When you're young, you're only like 26.
And this dude's looking at me like, so I'm like nervous, and he walks over to me. He says, "What are you listening to?" He said, "Oh, I'm listening to my music." He was like, "Your music?" He was like, "Yeah, I make music, so I listen to it." He's like, "Play it to me." So I play it to him. And he sits down there and he says, "Fascinating." He said, "What do you love about all this, your music?" And I said, "I just love the way the vocals sit.
Sure.
And, the vocal acrobatics that was going on." Like, he was like, "I didn't hear all that." Wow. He's like, I didn't hear all that. And it puzzled me for days on end. I was like, what does he mean didn't hear all that? I spent all this time putting all this in there and you didn't hear it? And then I realized that your average Joe who's gonna buy the record is never gonna hear what you.
That's true.
So don't waste your time doing it. Give it to him straight. Give it to him simple. And give it to him honest.
Absolutely.
Herb used to hire me to mix Brian McKnight stuff, and I got to the point where I just mute the intro. Whatever the vocal was got me. Brian, and I used to tell Brian, "You're the greatest singer on earth."
Yeah.
But until you establish the melody, an ad-lib makes no sense. When you start altering the melody in the first verse that nobody's ever heard before, it's no longer an ad-lib, it's just a different verse.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a pop writer in the rhythmic world.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it that way.
There you go.
And like one of my favorite songs is "What a Wonderful World."
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
I hate that song.
But it's the fact that he comes back to, and I say to myself, what a wonderful, like he explains all this stuff and then comes back to
back down into intimate mode.
You missed my joke, man. I love that song. I just wanted to see what you'd say.
No, it's even in jazz.
Yeah.
You can still, if you listen to jazz music, they still have the same formula. Mm-hmm. It's just some people's brains can't articulate that, but they still have the same formula.
Classic jazz, modern jazz, I don't know. But
I haven't done much modern jazz.
The greats, they didn't make it about a ton of notes either. They made
didn't.
it like, you listen to Kind of Blue or
That's right.
My Favorite Things, Coltrane, and they ain't a lot of notes.
Yeah.
But the notes they pick, you go, oh man, I can do that?
Yeah.
I never knew I could do that in that key, you know?
Yeah.
Modal playing, golly.
So let me ask you this while you tee up batter's box. The future. I mean, because you've got so much going on. How does it look for you? Where your interests lie?
A few more albums to look. I mean, 2 #1 albums. So this year was amazing.
Sure.
And I just want to work more on albums. That's what we're doing.
Best of everything.
Do you?
I go with that one.
No, tell them about Best of Everything.
So Best of Everything is my label.
I was getting ready.
BOE.
BOE.
Best of Everything is our label, and it just means we just want to be the best at everything that we do.
I love it.
And we have our own acts that we're developing. We have a big band artist called Major.
No joke.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
big
else?
band. We have a young R&B diva called Jemiah. Jemiah Nash actually was. She performed at the Apollo at 5 years old, and she was in a movie called August Rush.
Right.
So
that's right.
She's a 16-year-old woman now.
I got you.
So she's awesome. We have a singer-songwriter called Carmen Reese from London, who co-wrote Ariana's records with me.
Cool.
And so that's what I've been focusing on, developing acts. I mean, I've developed so many other acts for other people. I might as well develop my own. And we have
any film stuff? Or?
Oh yeah, just about this month. Next month, November, the Best Man movie comes out.
Nice, you did
and
that.
I worked on the soundtrack. I have a very big scene. It's a funeral scene with Anthony Hamilton and Marsha Ambrose. So,
cool.
His voice is dynamic.
Southern man, he's always good.
Dynamic, like his voice came
from South London, that Nottingham or something.
So
that's actually north, but I was born in Westminster, which is south. Yeah,
that counts.
No, you strike me as, and what I find interesting, and as we've gotten to know your camp, your worldview, sort of based on where you've come from, and I think the business needs folks who see the big picture, but you can't just see it, you got to care about it.
Yeah.
You know, I know lots of people who think they see it, but they never commit enough to really, and the guys who end up lasting a long time are the guys, you know, one of my favorite guys who thinks like you do is Alex the Kid. Alex is, man.
You know, we grew up together.
Man, get out of here, I was going to ask.
No, really?
Yeah, Alex is from kind of like, so I lived in Tottenham and he lived in Finsbury Park, and that literally is like a 6-minute bus ride.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And you both have this knack for, Alex actually took me and our producer Will Thompson to lunch, and he took apart us as an act, literally at Pensado's place, and he literally was the most fascinating thing, because that's what I do for a living, and it's kind of what you do. And I was just listening to him. He said, "Okay, what your publicist doing, and you guys should be on tour, and you guys are the rock stars in this space. And if you're an act on my thing," and he was just acting like a label executive.
Yes, sir.
And as somebody who's done that, I just had such a ball. So I get from you that same big picture, and I will tell you that. Just meeting you now and knowing your work, boy, an artist would love to be up at BOE.
Well,
I'm telling you, man.
I hope so.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Really
I've been around a long time, man. You got it. Tee up batter's box, sir. Let's see if he's got that.
Okay.
All
Vocals.
A Lewitt.
Oh, wow. That's Cole Nystrom's favorite microphone. Piano.
My Kronos, my cool Kronos.
Nice.
Wow. I was expecting a Bosendorfer. Kick.
Ooh. I don't know. That one I'm stumped on.
Gotcha.
Well, just what do you like to do with him in the song?
He likes his own kicks.
I like my own kicks. I like to lay them. So I'll pick. This is going to actually be interesting. I'll pick a top, middle, and bottom kick.
Really?
Yeah. All the time, top, middle, and bottom kick. If this kick hasn't got it, I'll look for one that's kind of like in that trebly mid place, and I'll look for one in the middle, which is gonna hit you in the chest, and then I'll put a sub bass, but not just because I don't want it to interfere with the bass, guitar, or the 808. It'll be enough where it's kind of like a boo. So, and it'll be really quiet. So,
Do a song for me where you take those elements and pan them differently. Bass.
My Fender 5-string.
Oh, wow.
I love my baby.
Okay, here's the hard one. Melodies.
Ooh, what does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Well, you like half notes, you like quarter notes, you like legato notes, you like...
Legato.
Okay.
Legato.
Virtual synth.
Makes us.
England.
Country.
Guitars.
Okay. Okay, this is a tricky one. I'm going to name 4 things. Pick one.
Okay.
And tell me why you picked it. Gospel, pop, rock, and jazz.
That's mean.
I know. He's showing off on this batter's box, I must tell you. I've sat here for all of them. This is probably the most
That's
I had to tailor
and
one.
especially because of my culture as well. You done messed me
I
up.
know. You said the wrong answer. You get in trouble at home.
Gospel, pop, rock, jazz. Pick one.
You're not going to believe me when I say this.
I am.
Rock.
Go rock.
Why?
I have more of an emotion with it.
Wow.
Man.
Glad I asked that question.
Well, we got to talk. I'm the
Like,
same way.
I listen to rock music and I'm emotional. And, you know, it's not rock. Like, people go, rock is a big
That's a wide
world.
term.
It's not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I find
Life changing. Like, I actually I listen to rock to make urban records.
Oh my God, we got to talk because nobody
This
understands
man
why.
was the reason I went with Herb was he has rock alternative chops. Herb
Right.
likes. How do you describe like Cat
I like
Fiddler
power.
and Cat Grip,
Yeah.
13 Cats?
I like creativity. I like power.
Yeah.
And there's something about when that combination happens, which I find in all kinds of genres, but sometimes I find the rock side, I can lose myself in that power, but then just get off on the innovation.
And
so-
then music moves. Like you guys will start like this. I love R&B, even some of the greatest R&B, but it does this. And then maybe lift a little bit.
And then
one of the things I try to implement in my music, especially in urban, is great lifts.
Yeah.
So the verses may be like here, and then the build up, and I have transitional swells.
hit it. You just
like,
hit it.
My engineers always know, I use transitional swells. So if you listen to my music, there's something that goes,
Yep.
and dance people do use it too when they're trying to
Yep,
build you
yep,
up
yep.
to that crescendo. And urban music lost that.
Name me
man.
3 musical heroes you're not related to.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones, Quincy.
Quincy Jones, and more Quincy Jones.
No doubt about it.
Quincy Jones. Roddy Jerkins.
Yeah. For sure.
Shout out to Rodney.
Absolutely. Friend of the family, close friend of the family.
The way he discovered me was amazing too. He left another person. He left Jimmy Iovine's office.
Really?
And heard my music play. I don't even know who's playing my music. And he went to look. He's like, who is this kid? I wasn't
Wow.
even in the building. He came and found me.
Wow.
And he was like, who is this kid? And he was like, oh, he's from London, he's coming to LA. He was like, when he lands, bring him straight to me. Don't let anybody find him.
Wow.
So that's basically how he
I'll
discovered
be
me.
damned.
Roddy Jerkins just for being open enough to discover me and to give me the opportunity to be in this country.
Sure.
To do this. And who else could I use? Who else has
Give me an obscure British name from
it's gonna be Chris.
Keith. What Richards? What's that guy Richards?
Oh no, I was gonna say Chris Neal.
Oh,
So Chris Neal was the person who made me understand. Chris Neal did like Celine Dion
Sure,
and stuff like.
yeah.
I did keyboard work for him, like real basic, and he said, "Son, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know where you're gonna be in your future, but you're gonna be great."
Wow.
And I never saw him again.
And that was it.
That was it.
Wow.
And I remember him dropping me off at the bus station, and he said he was very intrigued by the way I touched the keyboard and my ear, and I was
Amazing.
18, like thinking, what are you talking about?
But that's special.
you know the whole theme of this conversation with you is contrast, and you're a confused individual.
I appreciate that.
You love rock, but here you're learning from Celine Dion. You know what I'm saying? By the way, when I met Celine, I asked her who her biggest influence and who her favorite artist was, and she goes, Janis Joplin. I'm like, you got to be kidding.
you
Sing some
serious?
Janis Joplin. I'll mix your record free if it sounds good. I mixed the record free.
No doubt about it. 'Cause she's
She
a
paid me
bad-
anyway because I reneged on my bet.
You know what?
It sounded like her.
Yeah. Let's introduce Chongor Gans, who's over in our corner office. We're running a little bit long. Chongor, you over there, buddy?
Yep, how you guys doing?
How are you, man?
Doing real good.
Good
Got
to
some
see
great
you. You look
questions.
all gussy in your new office. You see you're upgraded and things. You just
Just
how
a
wonderful.
little upgrades.
Absolutely. So give us a couple questions for Harmony.
This first one's from Max. What part of your productions do you spend the most time sculpting? Drums, synth patches, etc.?
Good question.
I think I spend more time creating space between my synths can be annoying because they can be very loud and obnoxious and just in the way. So I spend a lot of time carving them to not be distracting and sit. Drums is kind of like a thing that I do. It's kind of like the basis to my music. So, you know, once the drums is set, it's kind of like, okay, cool, I've got my foundation in place.
Yeah.
And now I can just pretty much put the blocks in the right places.
I feel like sometimes you're balancing the synths with the live instruments because you love the live stuff.
That's right.
You love the synths, and different parts of the song, they take different importance.
Chris Brown, when I worked on Chris Brown's Fame album, I did 2 songs in there, Say It With Me and Oh My Love.
Yeah.
And we literally had to mix it like 2 different songs because the verse was so completely different from the chorus. So we literally split the page in 2.
Wow.
And
Love that.
on one half of the page, it's the chorus, and then on the other half of the page, it's the verse.
Fabulous.
And it's literally like that.
Wow.
The session's like that. And what we would do is, like I said, use transitional swells to join the 2 together. So your mind's waiting for the...
Sing me a transitional swell. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's kind of like a...
like an electronic dance music.
Oh yeah, and it could be anything. It could be like a swell. It could be a synth. It could be anything, or the boom.
Sure.
You know, it depends. But I call them transitional swells because in that 2-second gap, your brain switches off.
Right.
Enough for you to forget
open up
what
for
you
the
heard
next
and
thing.
open up for the next thing.
Brilliant.
Use them
Chongor,
like
give us
conch
another one.
bills.
Jacob Allison, what aspect of the production process is the most overlooked in your opinion?
By others? Or?
What aspect is overlooked?
Yeah, when you're making a song, where do you think people spend the least amount of time and kind of not do
Completely.
as well as they could?
Completing the song. Like
Finishing.
Finishing is poor in this generation because everything's done to 2-track. So no one's tearing this is what happens to songs now. A producer will send a beat, it goes into Pro Tools as a 2-track. The song gets written and sung to and cut to the 2-track by the artist. Then it doesn't go back to the producer for him to produce it out to
Right.
make it bigger.
Right.
It literally goes from that demo state. The label loves it, and it goes to the mix engineer,
Yep.
and that's it.
It's done.
And it comes out.
No dynamics, no
So there's no
dimension.
dynamics, there's no change, there's no dropouts, there's nothing that you could have used a better kick, you could have used a better snare, you could have made the snare bigger. And I feel like that is what's kind of changing me, making me stand out from everybody else. Like
Right.
we've been on one of the albums, Talk a Good Game, Kelly Rowland. The dude said, wow, you can sonically hear a difference between your production and another. And I was like, why? He said, because your sound's finished. So, and you know.
Wow. Sorry, there's just so much to do. One of the things before we go that we talked about before we started the show was that you really believe in education.
Yes, sir.
You know, we've been blessed that this show has evolved into an education tool for people, and oftentimes what we try to go in and do in the marketplace is education based, but we like to make it fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I have to meet your management, but just tell them that they have no choice because I'm going to be calling
Yes, sir.
and drafting you.
Yeah.
And I think that you would be marvelous to join us in some of the things that we're going to be doing. So I'll call you. Can we lean on
Please,
you for that?
look, the kids is the future.
No
You know
doubt.
what I mean? And I want these kids to have what I wasn't able to have because of my limitations and where I was raised. But yeah, you know, the guys working at my office, they were all from school.
Oh, cool.
And they are professionals now. So.
We and same with us. We've brought students with us. We're getting some incredible opportunities to do some things globally,
sir.
and your global worldview would be really important. So,
Maybe go back to England. with
well, I
us.
was going to say,
Let's go back.
No, somebody's
about
talking to us about that right now.
Great,
you would be
great.
phenomenal.
They need it a lot over there too, because England is somewhat restricted in communities for music. In fact, from what I've been told, they're taking music away from the children.
Well,
the
you know
kids.
what? We're going to bring it back. How
Yes,
about
sir.
that?
How about we do that?
Okay, Harmony, I'm inspired by you.
Thank you, sir.
I must tell you
Same
that
Absolutely.
we were lucky enough to get you. Big shout out to Sid for turning us
Yeah,
on. We love her.
Sid said, Dave, she's like, do you want to do it? I was like, are you crazy?
That's how she said it to me, and I was like,
Do you know who I am?
and I was saying, does he know who we even are?
I'm like,
And she-
yes, we do.
Oh, you're so cool.
We're going right home to go watch some David Sutter right now. Like,
Speaking of education, Sid brings students to every class, to every show we do, and we really like having them here. We are going to be in touch with you.
thank you very much.
Dave, take us home.
I've said this before. There's some people I can listen to their music, and when I meet them, I feel like I've known them 100 years. I've known this cat 200 years. you mentioned a video that we can watch to see you create a song. I believe it was The Way. What do I go into YouTube?
If you go to boeglobal.com.
BOE Global, for
.com.
those that don't speak English.
Actually, that's my webpage. That's my label's webpage.
Okay.
And pretty much has updates on everything we do, from the making of me doing The Way to all the songs we've had released out. And, you know, if you just want to know more about what I do, just go there and you know.
Perfect.
I'm going to be there in a couple of minutes. All right, guys. We covered a lot of ground today. Please rewind this. A lot of information. I'm inspired. I'm going to go work right now on an artist that we mentioned today that passed recently. See you next week.